Hello, welcome to another episode on Sport is for the People. Today I am joined by Jack, Alex.
Hello.
Hello, Paul. And Stu. Hello. And today we're going to be talking all things Premier League once again. And we're going to be talking about our hopes for our clubs during the summer transfer window. Obviously, it'll be a bit delayed this year, but we'll plough on anyway. So, Jack, what do you think Arsenal should do?
Well, I had a big old list of what I think Arsenal should do, but supposedly one lad told me on the last video that probably just sell the team by Harry Kane and Calvin fucking Phillips. So, yeah, class, we're going to go with that. That'll do. Cheers, Ryan Powell Freeman, for that one. What do I want for Arsenal? Probably realistically, only three positions. I think we need a new centre mid. Centre mid's a bit frail. I'd like a backup for Bayern, just because he's a bit injury prone, and I don't really rate Ainsley Maitland-Niles as a right back. And I'd like a centre back because ours are all shit. Is the honest opinion. Obviously, we need to see how Aubameyang does. I personally don't think he's going to stay at the club, so potentially you have to get a replacement for him. But as far as signings go, who I think we should go, I think Partey, obviously we've been linked with him for quite a while. By the sounds of it, there is a swap potentially for Lacazette, which I really have no issue with us getting rid of Lacazette. He just doesn't score that many goals anymore. Eddie Nketiah starts ahead of him, so I don't see really why you would want to keep someone who's probably on a lot more money and who's probably a very good bargaining chip to get better players who we need. Right back, I probably would go with someone like Thomas Meunier. He's free. Man's got a lot of international experience. He's a very good player. Obviously, there's a lot of Champions League experience, wins the league a lot of times with PSG. So he would probably be it. He's also not too old. So if Bayern ever got tempted to go somewhere like Barcelona, you're not stuck with someone who's on his last legs. Centre back, I'd like Dave Upamecano. Is the honest answer.
A pipe dream, though, isn't it?
I don't think it is, in all fairness. If you realistically look at it, Lacazette is a straight spot for Partey, so there's no money there. Thomas Meunier is free, so there's no money there. Torreira is supposedly heavily linked to go back to Italy. That's easily 25 to 30 mil there. You look at the fact that there are other players which we can sell. Aubameyang is going to be sold for, probably around 40 to 50 million. And they're looking at getting Milic. Supposedly we're number one in that kind of transfer race. Milic is 45 million. And then you look at players like the amount of centre-backs we have, like just gash. Socrates could easily make 10 million. Mustafi could make 15, 20 million if you can find the right buyer.
Everton will have him.
He
used to play for us. He used to play for us.
Yeah, no, exactly. You've taken
He
back.
was gash for you as well.
Thank you. He never played.
But I think just simply the fact that if you look at all of that, you're selling players for 90 million, you're buying. Realistically, if the board can't free up £5 million extra to sign a player you really need, then the problem isn't on the pitch; it's in the back. But I don't think it's a pipe dream. I think easily Arsenal should be able to afford that kind of player. Everyone else can, so why can't we?
Yeah, sounds good. Like obviously as well, us maybe not getting the Champions League could affect his thoughts because obviously Red Bull Leipzig are Champions League regulars now. So you never know if a club comes in, say Man City or Real Madrid. Obviously he's going to go to them over Arsenal at the moment. What about Stu, Liverpool? What can you do to really improve at the moment?
I don't know if there's a lot we can really do at the moment. We've got a great squad, probably the best squad I've seen in 20 years. Been old enough to understand it. We would love to sign a marquee player, of course we would. I mean, look at Werner, who's just gone to Chelsea. We just couldn't justify paying 50 million for him at the moment. How can you tell your players you're going to be cutting the wages and then pay 50 million for a player? It's crazy, really. But as much as I would love Werner, he'd have made us a better outlet going forward. But I mean, the dream is Traore or Mbappe or anything, but they're just pipeline dreams. We're never going to sign players like that. So I think we've got to look at it realistically. I don't think we'll really sign anyone major this season. I think we've got a lot of young players coming through that. We've got a lot of potential. I mean, we paid nearly 2 million for Sepp van der Berg last season, 17-year-old centre-back. And when he came into his medical, Bayern Munich fan of hijack it, so it says a lot about the player. Joe Gomez coming through, he's only 21. Great signing for us, he's very quick. Playing next to probably the best centre-back in the world at the moment. Under one of the best managers in the world at the moment. So I think he's got a lot of chance to improve there. We have a midfield engine of Henderson, who I wouldn't change for the world at the moment. I know you don't really like him, Jack, but I'm a Liverpool fan. I love him to bits. Probably the second name on my team sheet every week is Henderson, after Bobby Firmino. So a lot of people rave that we need a striker, but Bobby Firmino is the striker that makes it work for us. He's the catalyst that starts everything for them. So as much as Werner could come in, or Aubameyang's been talked for 20 million, I'd love to sign him as well. Great striker. Never going to happen. So there's no point in dreaming like that, is there? So they say we've got young Harvey Elliott coming through. He's only 17. We've got Harry Wilson coming back, flown from Bournemouth. We've got
Curtis Jones.
Brewster coming back. Yeah, Curtis Jones as well, who's got an absolute perler against Everton in the FA
Alex,
Cup,
you're shaking your head. What for?
Which you really loved, Alex, didn't you?
Yeah, I loved it. Great goal. Brilliant.
Yeah, so I think realistically, I don't think we're going to sign anybody big this season. I think we've got, like I say, the best squad I've seen in 20 years as a Liverpool fan, and let's just see what happens with it, really. We've got Nico Williams, but as a backup, a left back, as Andy Robertson. Trent's only 18. We've still got Klein on the books, so it's hard to say where we could improve. Naby Keita coming back from injury, he's going to be a big one. Ox can play anywhere along the front six. We've got lots of options, really, so it's hard to say where we can improve. Obviously, we'd love a big marquee player, everyone would, but with this whole pandemic, I don't know if that's going to be possible. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see where we go from it.
Ideal. For me, Liverpool at the moment, I think obviously you've got such a good start in 11. I think it's the backup, like the backup to right back. I think if Trent gets injured, who you got, Nathaniel Klein, he's still at the club?
Yeah, he's still there. He's just coming back from injury. He had a serious knee operation. He's only 28 though, so
yeah, he's not bad.
Trying to get back in there though, isn't he? So
not a bad backup, to be fair. There, centre mid, you've got a lot of options for the three, haven't you? But I think you need a centre attacking, bit more of an attacking centre mid. But then Oxlade-Chamberlain can play in that position, I suppose.
He can. I mean, we're going to lose Lallana, who can open any door. And I know he's going to be free for somebody, but he's a good option for free. We've still got Shaqiri, who's probably going to move on as well. Players like that can unlock doors. So we have options. I mean, also an option is dropping Bobby back there is what the idea is. If we sign Tino Werner, drop him back as the number 10, because he's probably the most creative player that we've seen in a long time at Liverpool. I'd have him in my team over Coutinho any day of the week.
Yeah,
definitely. I think he's been probably one of your best players for the last 2 years. Alex, Everton, sorry. Go on then. Give it to us.
For me, it's more about who we can get rid of than bring in. Our squad is completely diluted with bang average Premier League has-beens. They're on big wages. We're really going to struggle to get rid of them, so it'd be a miracle if we can move them on. Players like Walcott, Schneiderlin, who he'll have 2 decent games followed by an absolute howler 2 out of 10 performance. We can get rid of players like that, and Sigurdsson as well. Captain, how he's captain every single week. He must have something on Ancelotti, because I cannot see what he brings. It's summed up with the disallowed goal against Man United, where he basically just lies on the floor for 30 seconds, gets in the way of the shot, and we're robbed of a win against Man United because of that. Ideally, I'd like to see some of the youngsters come through. We keep sending them out on loan. Dowell, every time you see him playing with the reserve, he's scoring an absolute screamer. We got John Joe Kenny on loan with Schalke. Again, I think he should be pushing Seamus Coleman. But players who I would like us to bring in that we have been linked with, Højbjerg from Southampton. He's a player I'd like us to get back to sort of how we were under Moyes, tough midfielders. He'd be in sort of your Carsley or your Gravesen mould. Godin, again, he's another player. We need a centre back because we've got 3 recognised centre backs. And one of them's Michael Keane, who isn't very good. Yeah, Godin would be an incredible signing. Again, if our owner is as ambitious as he claims he is, we've got the money. Get him on a free transfer, the wages would be no problem. And then we've also been linked with a player aptly named Everton from Gremio, who are pushing for the Brazil squad and stuff like that. That would be another great sign. But we got Richarlison there, Calvert-Lewin, who I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he's come on since Ferguson's had more of an input as a coach. But it's, as I say, it's more about who we can get rid of. If we can move some of these bang average players on, and that's not even touching the surface with players like Iwobi and Keane, as I mentioned. He's done okay, Iwobi, but
£40 million, okay?
Well, 28 plus add-ons, which I don't think you'll be getting the add-ons for him because I don't think he'll be playing that often. But yeah, it's just as long as we can stop being the embarrassment of the league and the butt of all the jokes, that's all I'll accept now.
It'll take a little while for that, isn't it?
Yeah, it will, but I've been used to it now.
It's a process, isn't it?
I still pinch myself that we have sort of Carlo Ancelotti as our manager. I think that's the best sign you've incredible.
made in 10 years.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely incredible, but whether he's just coming there now for a final paycheck or not, we'll see.
No, hopefully he can start rebuilding your squad. It's whether he's there for the long haul. He's got quite old now, isn't he? So if he wants to rebuild the squad, that's at least a four-year job there, I'd say, at Everton. So you just got to hope he stays on. Paul, what about you at Manchester United?
United just need some creativity. They've been linked with Grealish, Bellingham, Longstaff, and Stephen Rice, Madison. They've been linked with so many creative players. They need something like that. Depending if we get rid of Pogba, I'd like to see Jack Grealish come in. And they just need an out-and-out striker. Rashford's really good. Martial's really good. Greenwood's coming on along. But United have always had that finisher. That was Roy. We had Andy Cole. We had Solskjaer. Hernandez was the latest one. And there's just not that deadly touch right at the end of the game. Defence-wise, they're all right. If they can get Koulibaly, they probably won't. But if we can get something like that, it'll just strengthen up the defence. Everywhere else is good. Fred's coming along really well. I don't mind Pereira. Who else we got? There's all the talk with Sancho as well. If they can get Sancho, that'll be one of the best signings of the transfer window, like worldwide. But it's playing. Like I used to say to Jack, like, I enjoyed it when Zlatan come over. Zlatan's just an out-and-out goal scorer. He's got that deadly finish, and that's what they're lacking at the minute. Like bringing in the creative players, all good, great build-up play, but someone to finish it. Out-wise, there's so much shit in that team. You get rid of Fonsu Mensah, Phil Jones, Lingard can go. Who else have we got? Mata. Who else have we got that can go?
Bruno Fernandes can go to Liverpool, I had.
You've got
Wouldn't
Sanchez.
fit into our team.
Still got Sanchez on the books, and they're paying a fortune for him. Like, if they can clear out some of these players, like you get 90-100 mil for Pogba. Phil Jones probably an 8 mil. He'll go off to Everton or something like that. Well, that's where we offload all of our shit. Fonzie Mensah, he's had a few good loan appearances elsewhere. But we've got, like, right back, Wan Bissaka's come along good. Got Diego Dalot back up for him. On the other side, Williams, don't like Luke Shaw. It's defence-wise, there's a few free transfers around. Like, I think Chiellini's coming on the field. I know he's 35, but I wouldn't mind him just as a backup, an older player. Our defence is so young. I think our oldest couple of players are Mata and Matic now. The rest of the team's so young, and they just need someone to come in. They've always had, like I said, that finisher and just a bit of creative there in the middle.
Yeah, sounds good. Like you said about Pereira and Phil Jones, they are the exact kind of players that Everton need to stop buying, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Bang average players.
That. And Rojo as well. We'll probably sign Rojo. Don't worry about
that. Don't worry about them players. They're going to Everton this season.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the first games of the season back, because all of our teams have got big games. We'll start off with the Merseyside derby. So who wants to start first? Alex?
Well, I'm slightly annoyed that it's not being played at Goodison for starters. It sounds like all Liverpool.
It hasn't been decided yet. They said it's still possibly going to be at Goodison, but not decided yet.
Well, yeah, hopefully City can hold at their end of the bargain so that we're not playing for the title in that match, because that'll just be unbearable.
I think Stu will find that quite bearable.
In all honesty, it's probably a good time to play it, because you're not going to have the fans behind you. Because if you had the Goodison Park fans behind you and we're going to win a title there, that would be unbearable. So behind closed doors, I think you've got a bit of a get-out clause there, really, haven't you? Because you haven't got because there's no way in this earth the fans would let Liverpool win the title there. On their case so much. So
I'm still clutching at straws, thinking that somehow you'll lose 9 games or whatever it is, and City will come through.
We can still lose 9 games, but City have to win 9 games. So
Well, you never know.
No. You know that's
not... things have happened, yeah.
It's happened. The Liverpool have won the title. Stu, what do you think is going to happen in your big game against your rivals?
I personally think that Everton are going to struggle, especially without the fans behind them. I think at Goodison Park, the whole point of Goodison Park, to me as a Liverpool fan, is the crowd are in your face. You're so close to the pitch. You're so close to the players. It's an old school stadium, old school fans. Shithole mind, but you know. The fans are on the back the whole time, and Liverpool don't get a minute's peace, don't get a minute on the ball because the fans are up on it. So without the fans, I think they're really going to struggle. And I don't know, I can't see anything other than us beating them, to be fair. Although I have to say that as a Liverpool fan, but I just without that whole atmosphere, I just think they're going to struggle against us, to be fair.
No, I agree. I think there's not much hope for Everton, unfortunately.
I can't even remember the last time we scored against Liverpool. Is that bad?
Anfield, when we beat you 6-2 this season.
Oh well, I turned it off after we went 2-0. I couldn't watch anymore.
That's a top fan.
In all honesty, though, you've got a striker in Richarlison that I really like. And, I generally think you need to start building your team around a player like that. Because I think he's potentially a very, very good player, but
but Man U will buy him.
Well, no, we bought him for 50 million, so I can't see why we would sell him for 90 million. What would be the point?
It's crazy, isn't it? Why would you do that? It's just not worth it.
Yeah. Him and Calvert-Lewin, as much as I don't like him, is not too bad.
Yeah, Stu's dog's a big fan as well.
Yeah. He's getting annoyed that Alex is talking shit, to be honest.
You can smell it.
I do think with the fact that it's going to be behind closed doors, there's a good chance for us to flood the younger players. They're going to be used to sort of that atmosphere of and being able to watch them, and it's a good chance.
Yeah, but with us going good ho, is that the
well, not necessarily, but going forward, we're not, touch wood, not likely to go down with 7 points off relegation. I mean, we've still got an outside chance of Europa League, but
God, we could pray you got out, couldn't we?
Yeah, I wouldn't want us to get Europa League, so it's just a good chance to get these young guys in, get them in the first team.
Yeah, give Mason Holgate a nice long run out. You got, like you said, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison's still young, Tom Davies still young.
Well, no, I mean like players like Anthony Gordon, Lewis Gibson, players like that from the under-18s, under-23s, get them in the team now.
So you want to use this as I've said it before on one of our podcasts, like a pre-season?
Kind of, yeah. It's just getting them more experience in sterile sort of circumstances.
Yeah, giving them the opportunity to play against players of Liverpool's quality would be good for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul, what about you? Man U have got Tottenham. Obviously, Man United are the much better team, but you'll have to talk about that yourself.
It's whether they have got a better team. It's whether they play as a team. Like Alex said with Everton, like it would be nice to see some of the youngsters come through. Got Abbey in defence, Angel Gomez, Chong's been all right lately. I don't think Tottenham are the team to do that against. Garlo's playing really well. It'll probably be a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw, but I'd like to think United should come away with 3 points from that one.
Yeah, you'd hope so, and so do I personally, because I can't stand Tottenham and I'd rather United win, and that hurts me to say that. Jack, obviously,
As a host, you're meant to be neutral.
Pardon?
As a host, you're meant to be neutral, mate.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Tottenham are an okay club. I can't lie, this shit. Jack, we have got Manchester City next Wednesday. What do you think that's going to turn out like?
Sure, I've got a really, really hard think about this one. And I personally think we're going to lose.
Oh, thanks.
And yeah, I think I think the problem is for certain players in the Arsenal squad, this layoff has been perfect. You know, you look at players. You look at whose dog is barking away?
Mine, sorry, mate.
You look at our left back situation. Obviously, Kolasinac has been in and out of injuries. Obviously, Saka's had to play there. We've had a bit of a mixed match. Young Scott's come in and he's had a bit of a torrid season. He's had a lot of time just to kind of get over his injuries, get back to fitness, which is great. But the other end of the stick, there's a lot of players whose future is potentially in doubt. You look at like the David Luiz palaver. Everyone thought David Luiz came in on a 2-year deal, and it turns out he came in on a 1-year deal. He might be looking for a new squad. We might not want him. Aubameyang might be looking for a new squad. Lacazette might be looking for a new squad. There's been such a long period of time where there's all these key players for us that might just be leaving. And is this really, after such a long layoff, and the first game you got is arguably the best attacking team in the Premier League, and we've got one of the bang average defences in the Premier League. Is this the right game to be like, or the perfect game to come back to? Probably not. I personally think we're going to struggle. I think the only way it works is if, magically the team go wonderfully and City play Fernandinho at centre back. But personally, I think for Arsenal now, the season isn't a write-off as such, but it's knowing which games you need to win. Is City really a game where you can put a stamp on it and go, yeah, we're going to win this hands down? Absolutely not. I personally think we'll probably shoot a couple of goals. It'd be nice to see, players like Eddie Nketiah get a run out, like a proper run out again, see how he's gelled into the team since coming back off loan. It'd be nice to see, obviously, Martinelli back on the pitch because he's definitely a bright young kid. But I think I personally I can't see us winning this. I think best case scenario is we're going to get a draw. That is best case scenario. I think it's just going to be, this is going to be a period where, okay, yeah, you try and fight for a Europa spot and try and get above Tottenham. But realistically, it's just looking at players and just letting people prove that they should be in the squad coming up to what potentially be quite a divisive transfer window.
Yeah, thanks for being such an optimist there, Jack. It's not all doom
I'm
and gloom,
honest,
is
mate.
it?
I'm honest.
Just before we go, I'd like to go around and ask you all what you think next season holds for each of your teams. So, Stu, you going to hold on to the title? You going to win another Champions League, or is it back to
Yeah.
Europa League for you next year?
Well, definitely not going to be following your suit in Europa League, that's for sure. We have to win the title first off, which we haven't done yet, which we are going to do, but we have to. And then, I think if City get the ban from the Champions League, that's going to turn a few players away from them who would potentially join them for mega money. I think United have a stay next season. As much as that pains me to say, I think Solskjaer's starting to knit it together a bit. He's starting to get a bit of a feel for it. He's starting to get his stamp on it. So I personally think that they might be in the mix rather than City if they get this European ban. But I personally can't see us finishing outside the top two. So, I mean, we've lost, 2 games in 2 seasons. That's not a bad start, really, is it?
No, the only thing I'd say that I might disagree with would be Man City being out of Europe, because if it's only for 1 season, they wouldn't have to play the extra European games, so they'd have to solely focus on the league. So that might actually benefit them in the league.
Nah, they've got a big enough squad to do that anyway. You look at United City's reserve team that they part of win the cup games. It's still better than most teams in the Premiership, isn't it? So I don't agree with that. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of players come in, what they don't.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
it'd be
I don't
interesting.
know if Pep stays. To be honest, though, I think if they get the European ban, does Pep stay?
If it's a 2-year ban, I'm not sure. If they get it reduced to 1 year, yeah, he'll stay, I think. He has said he will stay, though, hasn't he? But I can't see it. Can you see him staying 2 years without Championship?
Players sign new 6-year deals and fuck off the next month, don't they? So it means fuck all, doesn't it?
Yeah, very true. Paul, where do you see Man United finishing next year?
I'm hoping top 3. As Stu said, I think Liverpool will win it again next season. I don't want to, but I think they will. I think if United get a couple of signings, start gelling more, they're a very young team. Solskjaer's started doing well again. If they have a good finish to this season, and we get in the tops, like who's above us now? You've got Leicester. Who's above United at the minute?
City.
Leicester. Chelsea. So
Sheffield
yeah,
United.
you're not going to catch City. But our next game, I think we've got Sheffield United, Norwich, and Brighton. So hopefully we'll take them too. Next season, like I said, I think it will be between United and Liverpool. City are aging now, and it just depends who they bring in. If they can get the big players to come in, they'll do all right. David Silva's obviously leaving next season, I think.
Massive loss for them as well, that.
Yeah, Phil Foden's going to step in, isn't he? And hopefully he does a bit of business for him.
Phil Foden's not David Silva, though, is he?
No,
Exactly.
he's not.
Not even in the same league.
So it just depends. I'll see what City do, but I can see us not struggling as much this season. This season it's been a lot of draws. Hopefully top 3, top 2.
Yeah, no one's mentioned Chelsea that much, and obviously with their signings with Timo Werner, and there's rumours they're after Kai Havertz as well. Hi, Jack.
I was about to mention Chelsea.
I think they could be a big threat next year if they get a team of, well, it looks like they have got Timo
And I've got
Werner.
Zinich as well from Ajax.
Ziyech coming in.
Very
They've
good
got
player.
Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Pedro. I know Williams going on a free. Giroud, Tammy Abrahams. They've got a ridiculous front line, haven't they? Alex, what about you for Everton? Top 7 next year?
It'll just be the normal excitement at the start of the season, thinking, oh, this could be a season where we break the top 4. Come sort of October, we're probably 15th. Then we'll have a decent run over Christmas, back up to sort of 7th around March time, and then we'll tail off, finish 9th.
I'd just like to remind...
You'll avoid relegation is your dream, isn't it?
No.
I'd just like to remind everyone that Alex has bet me for the last 2 years that Everton would come above Arsenal and has lost that bet spectacularly.
We are only 3 points behind you at the minute, so
you're not going to come above us either.
We'll wait to see. Got to play as well.
Jack, do you think Everton will come above us this year?
Absolutely not.
Thank you very much. And that's
Or next
that's
year.
coming from such an optimist like Jack.
What a year after. Yeah.
What about you
Sorry.
then, Jack? Where do you think Arsenal are going to be next year, and what are you hoping for from Mikel Arteta?
Fifth.
First,
I think to be fair, as I've highlighted, is next year. Well, it's going to be Mikel's first transfer window. It's a transitional period. I don't really expect us to storm beaches and all of that. I was going to go on a thing about Chelsea, but you ruined it.
you can go on. Go on.
Fine. I'm going to be devil's advocate and completely disagree with Stu and Paul. Chelsea. Firstly with City. City are never falling away. Not on your life. They'll just spend more money. Like, at the end of the day, who's really going to be like, okay, we'll pay you 300 grand a week if you wait a year before you play Champions League football, and everyone's going to be like, yeah, absolutely. David Silva goes, and he's instantly replaced by Phil Foden or Ilkay Gundogan or Bernardo Silva or Riyad Mahrez or every other player on the planet they could buy. I personally think Chelsea will win the league next year. If you look at what Chelsea's done with absolutely no transfers and a very youthful squad, Tammy Abraham never played a Premier League game before the season, and he just gelled into it instantly. Mason Mount came from being on loan at Derby. He's looked great. Tomori's come in from absolutely nowhere, looks really good. If you actually add a little bit of money in and some quality players, that Chelsea squad starts to look very, very dangerous. If you look, they've still got the solid. It's got a solid midfield. You've got Kovacic, you've got Kante, you've got Jorginho. I mean, there's so much make weight with Jorginho where they could probably just offer him to any Italian team, and the Italians will give him the best midfielder they've got. I think that Chelsea squad looks dangerous, and I think a lot of people undermine them. I don't think United will be in that top three. I think United's biggest issue is they are linked to everyone on the planet and they sign absolutely no one. The amount of YouTube videos you can go on and be like, come to United, and he gets sold to a completely different club like a day later. I think United just need to buy someone, actually buy someone that they say they're going to buy. But yeah, I think it will probably be a United, City, Liverpool, and Chelsea top four. I'd like us to be fifth. I'll be happy with us being fifth. It's a step forward. We'll finish above Tottenham. I hate Tottenham. And yeah, that's what I think. And then move on.
Before we go, I'd like to mention a team as well. None of you have mentioned Leicester. I don't see Leicester falling away at all. I had a bet with Alex again. Can we just mention this? That Leicester would finish above Wolves, was it? Or yeah,
Everton.
I think it was. Leicester would finish above Everton.
Why would I? Yeah.
Well, and he still hasn't paid up for that, by the way, guys. Just
Well,
so it's on
because
camera.
the season's not finished yet.
Oh, shut up! Give me my money.
I think Leicester's one of those teams that, like, Leicester do really well one season and then they'll drop off 2 seasons and then they'll do well. Like, you've got to look at the fact that Wilfred Ndidi is not going to stay at that team for a lot longer. Jamie Vardy's getting old. Even if you look at the younger players that are around that team, like Ben Chilwell is probably going to go. Someone like Barcelona is going to look at
Chelsea will be massively linked with him, haven't they?
Yeah. Barcelona are supposedly selling Nelson Semedo. I think Ricardo Pereira would be a perfect right back for Barcelona and wouldn't come at a huge amount of money. Kasper Schmeichel is a very good keeper, but he's starting to get on a bit. Johnny Evans is a good defender, but he's starting to get on a bit. There's a lot of players that James Maddison's being linked to everyone under the sun. Like, it's a very good team, but it's a team that everyone's going to look at and be like, we can make some money out of that.
The difference with Leicester is, I'm sorry to put in, but they've got a very, very good manager in Brendan Rodgers. And at Liverpool, he didn't get the credit he got because he did rebuild the team from the youth team right up, and he's starting to do that at Leicester. So regardless of the players they've got in, Brendan Rodgers has got a very good youth system going, and he built Liverpool from the foundations upwards again. We needed it. We needed a rehaul, and Brendan Rodgers is a very good manager doing that. So regardless if they sell Maddison, Pereira, Chilwell, Vardy's getting past it, and Didi, they've still got that coach who can bring in these players up through the youth system. So I don't know. They're not going to win it. They're never going to win it, but they could still be top 4 again. I do believe Brendan Rodgers has got that in his locker.
No, 100%. That's why I was like, I wouldn't discount them at all of getting top 4 again next year, or if they get top 4 this year, but it looks like they would. I'd like to leave it there for tonight, and I'd like you all to come back on again some point soon. But my thanks to Jack, Alex, Paul, and Stu. Thank you very much, guys. Like and subscribe. Cheers, guys.